Man, just when it gets good with that synth, it just ends. And I'm like, I just want 30 seconds of the synth. That's how we enter this brand new live stream of the Long Box Punk. That's me. I'm Chris, I'm the Punk, and I am joined by returning post-punk David, the Badass. And then we also have first name, the last name Fink. Hans Fink is also joining us on this episode to talk all.
I think there's a delay.
You're a delay. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
That's fair enough.
It's your problem, Hans.
Whatever, man.
We're live, so we're going to figure it out.
Okay.
So I want to introduce this right up front because I'm very excited about this. We've never had a live word counter before, and I get carried away sometimes in saying things, but I'm gonna have to add them after, and then it's gonna be tough to keep up. But I'm gonna do my best to count every time that we say Flargle Snorpledork on this stream. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So keep a count on that, and if I missed it, just let me know in the comments as we go through. We're already at 3. Love it.
Working on a Flargle Snorpledork page right now.
Perfect. This is just going to be, I'm going to have to update every like 15 Flargle Snorpledorks that we do. We've been going for 2 minutes and we already hit 5. So,
it doesn't even have to be a full Flargle Snorpledork. It could just be a Flargle or a Snorpledork.
It could. And now we're at 8. So, oh yeah, that's weird. I did hear the delay. That's bizarre.
I tried to tell you, bro. No one listens.
It's all you though. It's a you problem.
Well,
just to be fair, even though your name says Hans Fink, I'm only calling you the Fink because that's how Dave introduced me to you last
well, David
time.
Is wrong,
so.
But that's actually okay. I'm going to see if my delay gets any better closer to my router.
Yeah, I'm
taking us on the tour.
Yeah, generally speaking, I am wrong about a lot of stuff. It happens way more than it should. I'm more wrong than I am right most of the time.
But in you being able to admit it.
I'm kidding, brother. I'm kidding.
So the two of you have collaborated together on The Vein, which is just a super wild, over-the-top, body horror, terrifying comic book about friends and things that go wrong and other dimensions and some philosophical things that completely flew over my head. So David, I know you like initially created it and then brought in the Fink to do the coloring and then work on some of the layouts as well. How did, like, for those that might not know, and we're just going to jump straight in, you don't get to tell anybody your origin story this time. But like where did this story come from for you? How did it all come to be? And then like, we'll get into how you reached out to the Fink and we'll get into that next.
So I think we went over this last time, but I was working on another project and I got stuck on it. So I was like, I need to do a short 6 to 8 page comic to kind of, clear my head. And that's where The Vein came from. I took some of my favorite artwork from that other comic I was working on, and I started repurposing it for The Vein, and that's where The Vein came from. Generally speaking, for the story, for the characters, for everything in it, I just kind of let it all happen just naturally. I didn't like think about it. Like I wasn't like trying to, get too philosophical, and I wasn't trying to solve the universe's problems or anything like that. I was just basically just wanted to make a fun comic that involved body horror, that involved space, that involved aliens, that involved, weird creatures and mutants and stuff like that. And I just kept throwing stuff at it to see if it would work. And some stuff worked, some stuff didn't. And I just kept moving it on from there. in terms of like writing process, like I, would basically just write out like, you know, I don't know, maybe like a spec sheet, I would call it, where like it would just give a list of like, places that we're going to go, characters that are going to be in there, their personalities, settings that they're going to be at, things that are going to happen, stuff like that. It was like, I wouldn't call it an outline. I feel like an outline is a little bit more detailed than that, but I would have like kind of like an idea of that. And then I'd work with a writer to kind
It's
of,
a skeleton.
yeah, it's like a skeleton. That's
Yeah.
that's cool. And then I would work with a writer to kind of, get those ideas organized and get, words into people's mouths and, things into people's hands and, stuff like that. So,
yeah, that's cool. So with like the stuff that didn't work for this, I can only imagine what that was like. Did you, like, when you are writing and crafting a story, if there's stuff that doesn't work, like, do you hold on to that somewhere, or are you just like hard delete, straight to trash, move on with my life?
well, so yeah, there was a lot of stuff in the first book that I cut out and threw out entirely before we even finished the the very first version of the book. So there's actually 2 versions of issue 1 out there right now. So there's a Kickstarter version that has probably about 15 extra pages in it, of actual story. It's got like bonus material or jumbo, but it's also got like actual story pages of about 15 pages where the Vane goes to other planets and he goes to and he fights other mutants and aliens and stuff like that, and other things happen.
Okay.
And I was, after everything was said and done and we finished up the Kickstarter book, I really took a hard look at it, and I just couldn't get 100% happy with those 15 pages. So I retconned them out of the first issue, and I'm actually the artwork for them I felt was great, and especially the color. I felt Hans did really, really great work on the coloring there. So I didn't want to lose it. So I'm reworking all of that artwork into basically a new story. So I'm chopping it all up, and I'm gonna, repurpose all of it in one way or another so that it tells a different story that I'm really, really happy with. So, and that's actually what the second issue is going to be, is kind of taking that 10 or 15 pages of content, adding in a little bit more content to it so that I'm a little bit happier with it, and kind of retelling, that part of the book in a different and better way, for my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so Hans, like so David writes this story and reaches out to you like, hey, I'm doing a body horror book and I want your colors and it all over my gore and my aliens. What's your like first reaction? How did that conversation happen?
So at first I was only coloring just one thing for David. I had been getting really frustrated with finding collaborators to make comics with, and I was kind of like, I'm gonna fuss and fucking feel bad about it. But I was like, I'm going to make a last ditch effort. I got this really, I started experimenting with this coloring method of using CMYK halftones, and I was really digging it. I mean, it's super old school and pulpy. It's how actual print works with just the 4 layers of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And so I just put a post out there on a comic subreddit saying, hey, like, I'm coloring in this retro style. If you want to fuck with it, you should totally hire me. And David was like, yeah, okay. I'll pay you to do this one page. And I was like, okay. And he said, and then later on he came back, he's like, I'll pay you a little more and just go all out. Let me see, show off as much as, go all out on it, and let me see what you can really do with that style. And I was like, oh, okay, challenge accepted, bro. So I went all out, and it was a weird fucking drawing. It was an homage to a Spider-Man, where Spider-Man quits, and he's pouting just like I was before I reached out with that ad. Like, he throws his Spider-Man outfit in the trash can, and you see his back turned. He's walking away. So it was a similar thing, like the Vane no more or whatever. But the dude's going to be the Vane. So, and I had no idea. Like I was befuddled by it. To be honest, I was befuddled by it. Like the detail on the veins and the tentacles were so brilliant, and then the lack of detail on the human part was so like just noticeably sparse in comparison. And I was like, where's he going with this? You know, what is this? And I kind of envisioned this voice like Little Shop of Horrors, feed me, Seymour.
Yeah.
And then later on, I come out to find out that it's actually three heads and they're sisters. You know, I guess one could still sound like that. I don't know. But yeah, it was trippy. I had no idea what to expect. I knew that he already had a colorist, so I didn't think any more would come of it. I thought I was just doing a other cover for him, but he decided to fire his colorist and hire me instead, which kind of blew my mind because I thought that other colorist was really good. So I was like, oh wow, okay, you know, it was really unexpected. It just kind of changed the pace of things. Dave became like this enabling influence in my life, where it's just like, oh, you want to do a comic? Cool, bro. Like he's very much an enabler for comic making, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was working with another colorist, and the guy was great, and he's going to kill me if he's watching this because I don't remember his name right now. But the one thing he did actually complain a lot was about the detail of it. And so it took him a lot of time. And then he actually had like other work. So it was like I had to wait a long time to get a page back from him, sometimes up to 10 days. And you know, I'd been kind of working with Hans like on the side a little bit, trying to figure out how to like, you know, move forward with it. And Hans never complained about anything. So I was like, oh, this dude's got some work ethic. I think I like him. And then I would say the other colorist, like he was really, really good. Like Hans said, like he was phenomenal. But
his work was good. It was solid.
Yeah, it was very contemporary, as I would say, is that like it felt too like nice and clean for my artwork. I wanted something that was like grungier and dirtier and like a little bit more experimental and like all of that stuff. Like I wanted something like more of what Hans was doing. And then, you know, once Hans and I started like working together, I was like, oh, I think I can work with this guy. And
like this halftone style right here that you see, this whole fight sequence he gets on Planet Sinblack. You know, this is these were the first pages we colored, and it has a very distinct look to it. And then we just switch palettes anytime there's a new planet or setting.
That's awesome. So I don't know, I don't understand like color theory. So did you stick with the simplified, like the 4-color palette for the whole book, or did you end up like when David said go crazy, where you're just like all colors on the table, let's go?
So it was a different coloring method each chapter, each planet.
Okay.
So
we actually named all the chapters after the color scheme that we were going to go on. So Sinblack is actually CMYK, which is the cyan, magenta, yellow, black. And then awesome. Rhizo X was a brush pack we bought.
Like in Regencia, that looks like this. This is Loxana's planet. So all the line work is takes on a magenta halftone. We used a magenta risograph printing brush to create a texture for the background in between panels.
Okay.
So even the gutters are flooded with it. You just get the sense of like everything has a very magenta hue to it when you're on this planet. Even Loxana, who's blue. See if I find a good drawing of Loxana here. Like she's so good. Man, like Dave's character designs are so fucking wild. That's the other thing I love about working with Dave is his the way he thinks of gross characters is so fucking good. But like
these are
even Loxana, who's blue.
Actually pages that are going to be in like, well, not these pages, but this is some of the artwork that's being recontextualized for second issue. Yeah. So these 10 or 15 pages here are where that stuff is going.
Nice.
Or one of my favorite guys that Dave drew was Great Mutado. This guy is fucking great. We had another guy named Devin Loop also draw a kick-ass drawing of him. But great, yeah, this is such a killer character design. And as you can see, this is on Rizzo X, so this has a completely different color scheme. We used Rizzo brushes.
Yeah. Hans and I actually debate this a lot. So I call it Rizzo X, he calls it Rizzo X.
If I was from Brazil, I would call it Rizzo X. The Rizzo brushes.
was gonna say, how else can we say that word? Rhizo? Rizah?
Rizzo.
Rizzo.
The Rizzo?
So
Yeah,
the
the Rizzo.
Rizzo,
The Rizzo. Hit me
I
with
will
the
say
Rizzo.
Rizzo, and Hans will say Rizzo.
That's awesome. I love like
We should look up
finding
how
out.
it's pronounced.
I love finding out that you name these different planets based on like the colors or the type, the brush type. Like those little like hidden, if you know things are some of my favorite things to notice. Like even in movies and TV, and like the WandaVision series hid a ton of like historical references that are done in the comics for both Vision and Scarlet Witch, like in the show, even down to like the house number was the, the issue number of the first appearance of Vision, or like, little tiny things like that, that it takes somebody way more meticulous than me to notice and put a video together on YouTube. So thanks to whoever does that and has that time on their hands, because I don't. But knowing that about your comic and that it's in there, do you hide other stuff like similar to that in your stories?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. So there's, if you look closely, there'll be stuff scrolled on the walls, written on the walls. There will be, of course, like I wear a lot of like my influences on my sleeve inside the book, so you'll see other comics by people, other movies. Like if you look inside that opening scene where the Vane wakes up in his bedroom, you can look at all the stuff, like the art on the walls, the books that are on the floor. But even after that, like if you look through carefully through the book, you'll see little hints and stuff of like nods to other things that I'm into and that Hans is into and stuff like that.
That's cool. Were the names of the three alien sisters, like, those feel very specific? Were those references to anything else, or was I just looking too far into it?
No, so actually, I really like that movie. I forgot the name right now. Death Becomes Her.
Okay, yeah.
And I always wanted to name a couple characters, Madeline and Helen, because I like that they're called Mad Hell when they refer to each other.
Yeah, okay.
And then actually the other third tentacle head is named I'm going to butcher her name right now, Shiabin. And that's actually a character from the TV series Succession. I was going to say Accession, but it's Succession. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, those are where I got the names. The personalities I just came up with out of my head. So
Sure. That's fine. Like, how, as you were writing them, how did you keep, like, because they all kind of have their own like snarky sassiness.
They have like ossicones on them. So if you look, some have like ones that go here.
Oh, are they all different?
Yeah, and then they come out each one, and then the ones are kind of like horns. So that's how I keep them separate and keep them straight.
Okay. Yeah, because that aspect, I was like, there's no way I would be able to do, like, keep this separate. They would all just be the same by the end of the book, and I'd be like, well, I tried.
That was a pretty big pain in the ass, because I had actually not drawn the ossicones on, and they were all just like one interchangeable head. And then I was like, oh, I should add these ossicones on so I know what they are. And then I had to go back through the whole book and add ossicones to all of every single character.
And were there things, so like, Hans, you get the pages and you're doing the coloring on it. Were there things that you like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then halfway through you were like rethinking what color something should be? Like, did you have that similar, like, go back and rework?
In one section of the book, yes. Most of the sections of the book, I feel like the color choices came pretty naturally,
Okay.
But the part where I feel like I really struggled, and where Dave and I came to struggle to come to cohesion, was the intro part where he wakes up in Tijuana, and he realizes he's attached to this entity, and he's running around, and so like it took me quite a while to capture the correct palette for that vibe, but the other palettes were pretty straightforward, pretty organic.
That's cool.
Yeah,
but, we worked through it. At the end of the day, like, it's Dave's vision, and it's like my job to just help him bring it to life, like to be his enabler in a way. So like I had to really I don't know, like it did take some effort, but we did figure out the correct palette for that. And I think what we ended up doing with that little ship in the beginning is looked pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that like that whole section, I think like for me, it wasn't I felt like we had done like so much like experimental, wacky, crazy coloring. And then it was by the time we got to that, I was kind of like, dude, we need to do more. Like it's not really comparable to the other worlds that we're going to. So we had to work out, like try to make it a little more special. I would say it's like because like all the other planets, pretty much I was just like, I just let Hans go loose and do whatever he wanted. And there was absolutely like no friction on any of that stuff. It was just like he took it and then kind of went in whatever direction he wanted to go in. And then that was it. Like I gave him like minimal instruction. I'd be like, hey, the Great Mutado is orange. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
This planet is called Magentia and it's all going to be in magenta. You know what I mean? Like it was just real like basic instructions. And then he just went and created, his, Fink all over it.
Just finked everywhere. Got it.
Wait.
You're such a Snorpledork, Dave.
Yeah, I was about to say, we haven't said Flargle Snorpledork in a minute there.
Haven't, but we're officially at 10, so woo! So that's the perfect segue, though, mentioning Flargle Snorpledork, that like you've got these false ads in that first issue, and I've seen some of the ones that are coming for the next issue. Like, where did the idea to integrate these into the book come from?
I don't know where it came from.
It started because I wanted to make fun of the Charles Atlas ad. It all started for me wanting to make fun of this one ad, and then it just kind of like turned into a thing like, yeah, okay, let's do more. But where the fuck is it? I'll show you, man. This is there it is. This is so basically, if you've read enough comics, especially like Silver Age and Golden Age comics, you've seen this Charles Atlas ad where exact same format. And there's a comic about a dude going around getting beat up and then buying the book and coming back, except in this case he's getting symbiotes instead of working out. And everything in those ads was so just like terrible and mismatched, and the copy was just like so aggressive, like being a piece of shit, skinny ass little bitch. And you should just like fucking buy this book by Charles Atlas. Look at how fucking buff he is, and there'd be this photo of Charles Atlas that looked like it's cropped out and it's gray tone against this really colorful backdrop with a little, it's so audacious looking that you can't help but love it. And so I wanted to make fun of that for this Vane comic, and I even photoshopped a realistic looking Vane. This looks like this could be a late 80s, early 90s B movie right here, and this is just a bunch of assets that I took and collaged and photoshopped together, until it looked right. And I thought, this is funny as fuck, like, come on, Dave, like check this out.
Yeah, I think both Hans and I both worked in advertising in one way or another. Like, I used to make phone book ads, which I don't know if you remember what a phone book is or if you ever looked at the ads. But phone book ads were the worst ads that you could come up with. And I think Hans, you worked at a magazine, right?
So. Yeah. So I was editor-in-chief of kind of started out as a DIY fanzine that turned into an actual like perf-bound, regionally distributed professional music and sports, totally action, extreme early 2000s lifestyle magazine. And then I kind of rose through the ranks. I helped them redefine their best standards and practices and became the editor-in-chief. And then there was a burnout phase. There was a really bad burnout phase after several years of music journalism. It was fun while it lasted, but there was after that it was like and there was a lot of ad design and graphic design and changing content at the whim of advertisers. type of thing going on, So it is what it is.
Yeah,
but I learned a lot from there. It was a very valuable experience that shaped a lot of how I do comics today, actually.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have an idea to do kind of like a weekly world news, but like in the Vane universe. I've been kicking it around. Do you guys remember Weekly World News at all? Like
it sounds vaguely familiar, but like there were so many.
It was like the most batshit crazy newspaper that you could get at the grocery store. And this
one of those.
You remember do you guys remember Bat Boy?
I was just about to say Bat Boy. Yeah.
Bat Boy is a weekly world. I want to do one of those in the Vane. I want to get it like printed on newsprint and like sell it at cons and stuff like that. I really want to.
So rad.
Bro, I fucking love it. That is so cool.
It sounds fucking cool, right?
We could do like an end-world tablet that you could actually touch.
Yeah.
That's rad, dude. A fucking human found, bro. Like humans, they fucking exist. They're gross.
That's one of the things that the second time reading stood out to me was as the tentacles are like trying to figure out what the vein is and what they just came in there. He's all like tubular and it's got liquid and stuff in it. Like these are gross organisms. And it was just like the way that you described humans made it feel so alien. And it was just like, God, we really are though. Like all of our veins are tubular, like, and then I started thinking about anatomy and then I gotta stop. Like I need to cut this off. So it was hyper effective. But so we've got some love for Bat Boy in Weekly World News, just in general. I feel like if you were to do that, you would need to have somebody covering the concert that they go to in Tijuana, or even like some sort of like campy comedy, like Bat Boy versus the Vane in like a little comic strip a la like Duneberry or whatever. Like that would be so much fun. Clearly that's an idea that you need to follow through on. And now that you said it here, we're going to hold you on to it.
Okay. So it's in universe lore that the Great Mutado is a shady venue promoter in addition to being a criminal, and that he's the lead singer of a hardcore band called the Puckered Orifice. And it's also in universe lore that Flargle Snorpledork Space Attorney took him to court over something that's not yet been detailed or fleshed out. But there is a connection that could definitely be fodder for one of those articles.
So
some sensationalist journalism there.
Yeah. I have some stuff put together for it. I just haven't been able to find time or anybody who can actually do it. Like I can't do it yet. So like I have to actually work a day job.
Right. They're the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anybody's out there that is interested, hit me up. If you've got some experience putting together wacky newspapers, let me know, and I'll put something into production.
And how would people find you on social media, since we're here and that's easy to segue into?
David Le Compte Comics, or you could go to thevanecomic.com. I'm on Instagram or the Facebook. I think I'm on Threads and TikTok, but I don't know how to do those things at all. So
yeah, you're on Threads by default of being on Instagram. Like you don't have a choice on that.
Yeah.
And then it just quickly announces to people that you're following them. And you're like, wait, what? No, I swear to God, bro.
It's like I don't even use that. What do you mean I'm following that? I'm getting notifications now of the like video social media that Meta just put out to try and combat TikTok. And I'm like, you're not any better than what they were worried about with TikTok. Like, stop doing things, Zuck. Like, get out of my face, please. I don't want more of you on my phone. So with the, we've got to talk like, so the second issue the campaign, that the pre-launch that you've got up right now, which is linked in the description below, so you can tap it and save it and pre-save it and be notified when it launches. But are you launching 2 issues at the same time?
Yeah. So we were supposed to have 2 done last year, but we missed the cutoff. So now we finished 2, and now we're finishing up 3. And I think we're pretty much ready to go. And I actually have an official launch date now. I actually have picked one out.
Okay.
So I actually haven't even told Hans this yet, but it's going to be Friday the 13th in June. When I saw that date, I was like, okay, it's got to be that one.
That's perfect. Yeah, I love that. So sign up for the pre-launch before Friday the 13th.
Better hurry up, Hans.
No pressure. But you need to work quickly, please. What's it like when you're approaching?
You need to send me the rest of the pages, then, fool.
Uh-oh.
But yes.
So when you're approaching a Kickstarter launch, like, is there a magic, like, percentage of the book completion that you want to have before you launch? Or is it like, I know we'll be able to get it in the 30-day launch campaign run plus the lead up between now and launch date? Like, how do you?
For me, that was probably one of the biggest learning experiences I had in the first one, is that I can't run the Kickstarter and do the marketing for it and do comics at the same time. And I'm also going to be exhausted by the end of the campaign, and I'm going to need to go into hibernation for 3, maybe even 4 weeks. And, after that, I can start work again. So this time around, the line art is done. So my end is done at this point in time. The coloring, there's a little bit of lettering. There might be some editing, things like that, like design of the book, that all I feel can kind of wait. We don't have to have that completed, but the heavy lifting that I have to do has to be done before. So I don't want to think about art. I don't want to think about story. I don't want to think about creative in any way. I just want to be able to focus on marketing that thing, contacting people, trying to get people to the page. And then after that, there's going to be this waiting period where we're waiting to get paid. And then I want to just relax for a week or 2 after that as well.
Yeah. Hans, have you run Kickstarters independently, with your own work before?
No. My experience with Kickstarter is in assisting with the first Vane campaign with Dave.
Okay.
It was Dave's campaign, so I'm not taking credit for Dave's work, but I did try. I did contribute as much as I could to that. Without overstepping my bounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, I was excited to finally find a collaboration that felt natural and good. I enjoyed working with Dave. I wanted to see this to the finish line. So Dave hired this firm. I forgot their name, but they changed they clearly didn't get the book, and they changed the copy on the campaign page, and it read really stupidly. So
we hired a PR company to help with the campaign.
Okay.
And there was some good and some bad. They did a good video for it.
The video was dope.
Yeah, I liked the video. Some of the editing that they did on the actual page and the content on the story page and stuff like that, I wasn't super keen on. I wasn't super happy. There were a couple points that they brought up which were good, but generally speaking, I paid a lot of money to them, and I don't know 100% of what I got out of it yet. So
yeah. But yeah, I helped Dave rewrite the copy to make it more reflective of. I think their intentions were good, but maybe they just weren't capturing the vibe of what the Vane is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just things like that. My first campaign will be coming up later in the year, and I did take this campaign with Dave as learning experience, and he did give me access to the campaign dashboard. But that's Dave's campaign. I'm just lucky to be along for the ride. It's
Yeah.
been pretty awesome. And then, you know, I've also learned from some other fellow creators like Chris Wegand, who he does the Tight series. I learned of him through David, actually.
Okay.
And I liked the work that Chris was putting out enough, and I saw that his campaigns were doing really well, that I actually bought the package where I got an hour-long interview with him where we talked about how to get ready for promoting campaigns and stuff like that. So I've been, you know, I have that and that my experience with Dave, and I'm excited, but also super nervous to put it into my campaign coming up.
That's bullshit. Don't be nervous. Huh? That's bullshit. Don't be nervous.
Fair enough. But, you know, energy can always be transmuted. So you take your nervous energy and you transmute it. You take, you know, like your anger or your sorrow or whatever, and you transmute it into creative energy. You know, and I think that's where a lot of what people, you know, what I think is a funny question is like when people talk about like coming out of ideas, I'm never out of ideas. Never. You know, maybe like, you know, and it's just what that is transmuting your energy, like we were talking about. So like being nervous, like, yeah, I'll admit, like I'm nervous, like things could go wrong, you know, sure, of course, but I don't want to be a negative thinker, and I want to transmute that energy into like excitement for the campaign. But you know, there's always there's always a little bit of nerves there. You know, it's like going into a competition or some other stuff. You know, like it's like, oh boy, you know, like ooh, like what's gonna happen?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
It's good. We lost it somewhere, and I don't even care. No, like that's good stuff, because like it's true though, with the like taking energy and being able to funnel it into something else. And like I know growing up, I would get angry about a lot of shit. And then like I would put on Slipknot or, you know, any new metal, anything. And suddenly like after 40 minutes, I was like, no, I'm all right. And then I'd go back to playing happy video games and whatever. And like there's something to be said about that. And I just saw a video today where some random dude, it was like a suggested reel, and I was like, whatever, I'll watch it because I'm always watching the suggested reels on Instagram. That's my like, I get stuck in that loophole. But the guy was talking about the red car conundrum, where like, do either of you know how many red cars you saw if you went out today or the last time you drove anywhere? Like, could you tell me the number of red cars that you saw?
Yeah, I don't go out, so 0.
Perfect. So imagine, if you will, that I told you tonight, like, hey, next time you do go out, count the number of red cars, and for every red car you see, I'll give you $50. Suddenly, A, you would go out, and B, you would be looking for those red cars. That's the red car conundrum. Like, they're there anyway. It's just whether or not you're looking for it. So talking about the like transmutation of energy, like if you're looking at, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed and I'm stressed and I have all this shit and I'm nervous and all of these things and I'm feeling too many things, like you're only going to get overwhelmed by all that stuff. But if you can take that and go, yeah, but I'm anxious because I made something that's badass and I need to celebrate every time someone else comes on board and thinks that it's badass too, then suddenly you're going to be seeing more of the communal stuff coming together instead of just looking around at all of the anxiety inducing and panic things. So like
that's absolutely true.
It was so, I don't know, it felt so simple. And I always hear like, it's all about perspective. Like there's a chapter of that in every self-help book that has ever been written ever. And I've read a few, and it just is like, yeah, that does nothing for me. But hearing about the red car thing, I was like, oh, so I don't just need to like wait for something to happen to me. I need to be doing my part to like find those wins and those small victories and then celebrate them when they happen. So forever, whatever that's worth.
So I'm sorry. Are you going to give me $50 for every red car I count now? Is that what's that's all I heard. Is that
yeah. No, I don't have $50 for every. As long as you stay in your house.
Legit takeaways.
Absolutely. But speaking of, I mean, we talked music, and Hans, you worked in music. Like, do you guys listen to music to get you into the zone for creating? Like, do you listen to it as you actively create? Do you find like inspiration from music as you're creating or writing or
I know
making comics?
on the first issue, the whole creative team connected on Queens of the Stone Age.
Okay.
You
Was there
know,
a specific album?
Songs for the Deaf for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was Songs of the Death. Yeah, I had them on a lot. It was something that was just going around in our circle at that point in time, and I think it's kind of like the band that we all liked, you know, collectively, so we could all kind of base on it. So,
but currently in my rotation, I mean, I was big into Wu-Tang back then when I was younger, but Wu-Tang's been big in my rotation again lately. Ghostface come out with a couple new ones, and you know, who else? Redman actually. Been really enjoying Redman lately. He's funny as fuck.
I like Redman flew under my radar for the longest time. And then when I actually sat down and like paid attention to the lyrics, I was like, oh, how did I miss this boat?
He's clever, man. I'll keep you on your toes like a midget in a urinal.
That's upsetting. David, what about you? What do you got on the rotation right now?
I mostly I love to have movies on in the background while I work.
Okay.
So that's mostly I like to be able to work and then kind of look over and watch a movie for 5 or 10 minutes. That's been my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't been too into music for a couple of years now. There are things that I like, but I've definitely just been more into movies and kind of listening to movies.
Yeah.
And so I've also been into books on tape too. So I don't know what's kind of why that's happened, but that's kind of
man. If you're talking books on tape, you gotta go with Dungeon Crawler Carl. Bro. That is, in my opinion, the greatest audiobook, hands down. The greatest audiobook series without argument. I can't be reasoned with on this.
I'm gonna try anyway, but go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, I listened to that on the drive out to ASCAF.
Did you?
Yeah, I listened to it. On that
Which book?
The first one.
Okay, right on. Yeah.
I've only heard the first one.
Jeff Hayes is such a good narrator too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's Jeff Hayes. Jeff Hayes. Sure.
So counter argument for just a series that I think the voice actor nails is the book series called Helldivers. No relation to the video game, but it's by Nicholas Sansbury Smith. And it's post-apocalyptic. The earth is just scorched with nuclear fallout from the Third War. And so people are living in airships and they have to dive to the surface of the earth to scavenge for parts to keep the planes flying. And the dude that narrates that book is so freaking good. And I don't remember his name.
So it never occurs to them to land, or they can't land. They can't.
They can't because they don't anytime that there's a green zone where there's low radiation, there's usually just mutated creatures that are in the area. So it's not safe to land these airships. They eventually find a place on the surface, but it's not without its own challenges. Right. It's also a 13-book series. And now he's writing spin-offs about characters that were fan favorites, which as a fan of the entire series, I'm perfect, more Helldivers. But as far as audiobooks specifically, and I know it's a stretch because not everybody likes it, but Lord of the Rings, narrated by Anthony Serkis, that's his name, right? Adam, the guy that did Smeagol in the movies. He does the narration of all 3 books, and he does the Smeagol voice when he's on Smeagol. It's incredible, dude. It's so good. That's because you see the movies and then you listen to the books and it's the same dude from the movies. So it's not like you have to rework your brain. Just like when you read a book and then you see a movie, you're that's not the character. You're that, whatever the actor is, you're not who was in the book that I imagined. That's always a struggle for me, but it keeps it easier because then it's like, oh yeah, I'm a visual person. Surprise comics. So anyway, that's a
Yes,
really
just
long
a
audiobook.
small correction. Andy Circus.
Thank you. I see. I knew it was
Oh,
an
thank you.
A.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it either.
Perfect. But yeah, his narration on those audiobooks is peak.
That's actually sounds
So
fun.
good.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I had to wait like 7 months at the library to get it because once they dropped, everybody had been waiting for it. So,
Oh, good.
but yeah, they're they're legit. So, anyway, though, there was that Redman Method Man collab, and I do remember it, but I don't remember anything about the song. I just remember people at my
Oh
school
man,
were
which
like,
one? They've collabed so many songs, man. Like, yeah, they've been on a lot of tracks together.
mm-hmm. And didn't one of them get on a Limp Bizkit song too?
Yeah, Method Man. God, I fucking hate Fred Durst, but I like the rest of the band. I think, like that's the thing that frustrated me about Limp Bizkit is Wes Borland is a very brilliant and unconventional guitar player. The rhythm section was pretty tight, and then you have Fred Durst, and he like literally sounds like that, and I'm
Chocolate
like, why?
starfish. Yeah,
It's like, why do you think it's okay to sound like that, bro? Like, that's not
it
okay. I
was
don't like that.
it
Yeah, the
was
whole douchey frat boy persona type thing going on. But I love the rest of the band. The rest of the band was tight, and I'll admit, I'll concede that Fred Durst actually had a couple of dope flows on his track with Method Man. Okay, fine, you know. I don't know, but like, yeah, I'll concede that he had a few dope flows. He also did a pretty funny rap battle with Jonathan Davis from Korn.
what?
Yeah, it's a hidden track. I forgot on what if it's on the Korn album or one of the Korn albums, but it's a hidden track on something that I heard one time. And he disses Jonathan Davis and compares him to Austin Powers with the hairy chest, and then eventually Jonathan Davis proclaims that he wants to fuck Fred Durst, making Fred Durst go like, what?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Durst was actually in a pretty good movie. I think it was called I Saw the TV Glow. I think. Was that it?
Oh.
TV Glow. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a weird horror movie. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's cool. I'll check it out.
Writing it down. We need to normalize taking notes in real life because I don't have a memory for shit. So I'm always which similarly, look at this transition is when I have ideas for stories and stuff, like I know that if I don't just grab my phone and scribble it down right away, I'm gonna lose it. Like, is that when you're coming up with new ideas, is it because you're in a creative space and environment already, or are you like showering on a Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. and you're like, oh my gosh, you know what would be awesome? Like, how does that process
Yeah, so I like try to make like the creative process like kind of habitual. So like, and that was pretty hard. So like I like every day at a certain time I sit down to draw and kind of write and create. And so I get into the habit of kind of always doing it at, a certain time of the day.
Okay.
That's been probably the best for me is to like kind of compartmentalize things. So like when I'm at my day job, like I just do that. I don't think about, my other stuff. I don't have time to like mess around with, comics and stuff. So, but I would say that like there are a lot of times like out on walks or if I'm like swimming or something, doing something that's kind of like where I almost in like a meditative state.
Mhm.
That's where the best ideas come from is when I'm like kind of letting my mind just kind of wander and go in that kind of like dreamlight state.
I tend to agree. I'm not as regimented or disciplined as David in that regard. Like I don't have anything like a special time of day set aside, but I do compartmentalize what I do. Like at one place, I'm not worried about my creative stuff. I'm worried about what's relevant at that place, whether it's work or the gym or the store or wherever. When I'm in my studio, then it's pretty easy to be creative because I don't really do it elsewhere. I also find that movement, walking, really stimulates me, really in terms of thinking and I don't know. It's like loosening up ideas metaphorically. Like being creative is kind of like taking awkward shits. In the sense that sometimes you just gotta like go all over the page, and a lot of what comes out is going to be shit. But every once in a while, you get a little chunk of gold in there. In real life, don't do this. You don't really get chunks of gold. I'm making a really crass metaphor here, so like, please don't go. If you find chunks of gold in your shit, I don't know what happened. Like, but where I was like, yeah, like that's kind of how I see it. Is like 90% of what I splat out on the page is going to be shit, and then I carve that 90% out, and the 10% that's left is the gold I'm looking for, and I can build a story off of that. I can build several stories off of it. You know,
I think, yeah, for the vein, the other thing too is that like I kind of look at the vein as almost like a playground. Like it's almost like I can kind of just let my imagination go and do whatever I want, you know, with the pages. You know, so like I take like the scripts that, you know, the writers give me, and like I look at them as kind of like a guideline for what I can do, and kind of like where I need to, like, this is point A, this is point B, this is point C. But like when I start working on it, if I come up with another idea for something, you know, I'll follow that idea. And sometimes it, you know, it may not be a gold nugget as Hans' metaphor, but sometimes, you know, it's fun to just kind of like just let my imagination go while I'm drawing, and just let whatever happen on the page.
well, and to be honest, man, I think you have really good visual instinct. You know, I mean, like the way you lay out a page is usually. I know, like in the first issue, you got help from Lewis and myself to help with the layouts, but I think the way that you lay out your stuff is pretty intelligent, and it guides the story pretty well, and it's pretty creative. And actually, that's one of the things I enjoy most about the vein is just how creative visually it is. It's pretty fucking wild.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have since you're already like we're just, you know, do you have a thing that is like what's your favorite thing about collaborating with each other?
Man, I don't. There's a lot of favorite things that I have working with. So I mean, like I think like I love everything, but like I'm always really excited for the ads. So Hans has 2 ads that he owes me, and so he just sent me like a write-up of like ad ideas, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 10 ideas. I'm so excited because I get to choose 2 of them for the next book, and
Well, you
that's,
could choose 6, and I'll narrow it down from there.
yeah, I can't afford to pay you for 6 ads, buddy.
No, I'm saying I'll narrow it down from there to 2.
Yeah, so
And then it's a surprise.
yeah, but I like being able to work. I mean, not only is like Hans like I think good to work with, like because it's like it's fun to see what is going to come out of him, you know, like to see like what he's going to do and what he's going to accomplish, you know, because like I really want him to kind of like leave his mark on the book. It's not just the Dave show. And so I, you know, not only that, like, you know, I like to see what he comes up with, but also there's, you know, Hans is like a straight up professional, you know what I mean? And like, if there's an issue with something, if I don't like something, you know, and you know, and he'll call me on my shit too. You know, if I make a bad decision, he's going to push back and be like, you're a fucking idiot this time, you know? And, you know,
I'm more diplomatic than that. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, man.
yeah, so I think, like, generally speaking, like it's hard, especially I would say in like the artistic community, to find people that can, you know, take criticism and can give criticism and actually be able to like understand, like, you know, we're in this together and we're trying to make, you know, a product together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's funny that we have a comic book series launched off of an ad, the Flargle Snorpledork ad. Of
Dude,
course, bring the counter back up. Bring the counter back up.
I was about to say we better make sure that we get to Flargle Snorpledork because
right.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I have so many Flargle Snorpledork questions. Like if Flargle Snorpledork was like all, because Dave said last time that those ads fully came from you, Fink. Like, where in the hell did this guy come from?
So I just wanted to be as preposterous as I possibly could, and I wanted to make an ad that was a parody of the late night. Have you been hurt in an injury accident? Did somebody step on your toe? Did someone's dog shit in your yard? Well, then call us and we'll sue the fuck out of them and we'll take all their money and you'll be rich. Oh, thanks, asshole and asshole. And I thought but this has to be weird because it's Dave's comic and it's Sense Space, so it's the weirdest fucking guy with a normal body. I'll give him a normal, healthy man bod with like a fucking suit, but I'll make the weirdest fucking face for him that I possibly can. And I must have photoshopped like fucking 6 disparate things together to make this guy. And then our boy Jevin Loop, shout out to Jevin Loop, great fucking artist, has been absolutely killing it on his rendition of it. His take is a lot more cartoony. Here you can see Flargle Snorpledork jamming with his rock and roll band, the Scorched Flizzle.
Which is a great band name, the Scorched Frizzle. Like
Flizzle, yeah, he doesn't fuck around. He's a lawyer and an aspiring rock star, but not really yet a rock star. But he has a residency every space month at Galactic Haberdashery. There's 2 Flargle stories that we're doing. One is going to come out with the Vane as an add-on, so when you support the upcoming Vane campaign, you can also buy Flargle Snorpledork as an add-on.
It's so good.
24 pages, digest sized, drawn by Jevin Loop, written and colored by me, and looked at by David.
I'm just taking half the credit, just to be clear. Just
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. When you saw that, were you like, what the fuck is Flargle Snorpledork? Like,
oh no. When I saw it, I was like, this is fucking gold. So Flargle Snorpledork and I think the Nintendo were my 2 favorite ads. And I think Nintendo. And then I think at the end of the day, I still think Nintendo is a better ad, but I think Flargle Snorpledork was a better character.
Definitely wins, yeah. And the
people
video
started
games
texting and messaging Dave about Flargle. Is pretty wild. People were like, "Hey, man, tell us more about that guy." So that's how we ended up making a Flargle Snorpledork comic.
Yeah, I haven't pitched this to Hans yet, but there was someone who messaged me on Instagram that got the conversation going between me and Hans, and I wanted to include that in the book. So maybe in the back of the book, we can kind of add that like chat that somebody sent me and was like, "Hey, Flargle Snorpledork, my mom thinks he's hot."
Oh, perfect for the inside back cover. That's fucking great, dude.
That's a good thing that I'm always curious about too. Like when you're thinking about the inside of the covers, both the inside front and the inside back, like on the first issue, the inside of that first one has the panel where the friends are talking about the Vane and he's like broody over in the side with the shadow work of the tentacles.
Oh, the Spider-Man homage.
Yeah, like how do you figure out, or how do you approach thinking about like what goes on the inside of those covers?
That was originally the first page of the book.
And right. Then, yeah, that was going to be the original first page. And then we didn't know what to do with it after that. So we're just like, fuck it, repurpose it for the...
Yeah, it kind of didn't fit with the flow of the rest of the book. So it was in full color. The rest of the book, like the first part of the book was all in black and white. Yeah. And so it felt a little weird to me to kind of start the book at that. So the new page, first page where it's like his face and the skull and the weird, glowy tentacle things, that felt more like a natural pace. But I couldn't throw away that page. I thought it was really, really cool looking.
Yeah.
And so I had to find some place to put it. And I thought that the inside cover was a great place for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It works great because it's also like as a standalone piece, especially when you put it right next to the monochromatic opening page of the skeleton overlay with the tentacles and stuff. Like it's a good contrast. That's like, wait, what are we about to get into? And then you look at the first page and you're like, this is very, and so like it automatically set, like that's just another layer of like setting the tone for what's gonna happen in the book, which I just think is like super dope. And like I've read a couple comics, and it always seems like the inside covers are always like just drastically different. Sometimes it's just, you know, like the creative team and the copyright stuff. And then sometimes it's like, nope, this is like a pinup for the rest of the book or whatever.
Yeah, this I approached it like I would a magazine, which is if you look at it, it's framed by a masthead, a magazine, a vertical magazine style masthead, and then the bottom third of the page is like a traditional comic style credits. And that way there's room for the picture to breathe, but there's also room for the credits to breathe and room to shout out to everyone and everything that contributed, and still have our like, oh, don't copy our shit or we'll see you message thing there. And but yeah, a lot of that is just from laying out magazines. Is like, okay, you want to use this on the front cover, I'll like lay out the rest for you. Same thing with the thank you page. That's just basic magazine layout too. But like, stupid simple.
Yeah. Well, you say stupid simple, and I'm over here like, how did they figure out? Like, I just overthink everything. I think, but I like with the copyright stuff, and I've heard differing ideas or statements about it. Like, did you like go through the whatever you got to go through to get the stamp?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yes. Like, how does that work?
It is officially copyrighted to David Le Compte, the entire book. And I actually had my attorney do it. So it's like we went through, they submitted it to the copyright office, and we had to get like contracts for everybody. We had to have everybody sign them. We resubmitted it multiple times. We had to submit every single version of the book. So every single alt cover, every single like variant of it, so
yeah,
it was a painful experience where the attorneys would send me these long ass emails of these giant lists of things that I need to do. And the copyright office is just a total shit show. Like they go in, they'll point out the things that you need to do, and then there will be probably 20 other things that you need to do as well, but they're not going to tell them to you right away. So they're gonna send it to my attorney. My attorney's gonna send it to me, and then I have to fill all that stuff, and then it goes back. All the time it's costing me money, to get it, to get it copied. So
that's what a pain in the ass. I love too, though, that I guess you like forced the copyright office to read your book, so that's fun.
Yeah, the attorneys had to read my book. The copyright office had to read my book.
That's great.
But I mean, if you don't do that, I mean, anybody can just, sell your book to Netflix, and then, you'll have to sue Netflix to get the rights back to your book.
Yeah.
It could happen to anybody, even Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison, yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Don't get granted. Don't take your comics. There's a pun there somewhere. But I don't know what that is. The ad that you sent me, and I don't even know if we can talk about it, but
yeah, you can talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it. You could show any of the artwork I sent you. Feel free to put that on the screen, by the way. I probably should have said that an hour ago.
Should have, but yeah, I mean, we got the, let's see, we can be technologically advanced people here. Pull this out and go here, because I wanted to ask you specifically about the disposable ruffians.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, that's gonna be okay.
They're gonna be in the third issue. They'll have an appearance in the second issue, but their main scene is gonna be the third issue, and those guys are gonna be like they have the best scene in the third issue.
It's like, I know it's probably impossible to read, but that's okay because it'll save some of the fun. Like, when you get to the third issue, read everything on this page. And that's why I love this ad specifically, because it's so just like over the top. And like they're technically not slaves. They love Bane. And I was just like, oh gosh.
Bro, they get up on it. They get chopped to pieces and they're like, oh yeah, oh rough my salad, oh yeah, and all this other shit, dude. It's fucking hilarious. And then they just reassemble themselves into these monstrosities and start fighting back. And it's like, oh shit, you can't really fuck with these guys. They're gonna get off on it, and then they're gonna attack you in the form of a monstrosity.
I'm telling you, they're the best scene in issue 3. It's they have the centerpiece for it. It is, and it's some of the best artwork we've done. It's absolutely awesome.
That's outstanding. I love that. That's the one that stood out to me then. Because yeah, I just was like, this is so freaking cool. And the stupid circle game below the waist, I was like, damn it, he got me. It's like, you son of a bitch.
I'm glad you noticed.
Because I'm a sucker for hiding stuff in pages, like even with movies, any of the little like Easter eggs and stuff. I love that shit. So
I'm amateur at heart, like I thought it would just be funny to throw that in there, see how many people reacted to it.
Yeah.
See if anyone punched themselves.
I didn't do that, but I'm also not one of those ruffian henchmen, so I don't get off. So Friday the 13th in June is when issues 2 and 3 launch. You can get the Flargle Snorpledork add-on as well. So basically,
the Flargle cover if you have it.
You're doing. Let me see if I do. I should, right? Let me see. That's gonna. Now I gotta go through my emails, man. I don't know that I've got it. But it gives folks all the more reason just to go to the Kickstarter, which again is linked in the episode description. Super easy for you. Hit the pre-launch notification so that you can follow along, get notified when it launches. June 13th. Rumor on the street is that I am launching my first comic the week before that. Shameless plug. And so that's why I had such specific questions for you, because I'm trying to figure this shit out myself. So, but it's the best, man. Like, is the best.
Yeah. So, one of the things I'll tell you is that, what we're going to do is we're going to do cross promotion. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the best ways to get your book, get eyes on your book and to get backers.
Yeah.
Is, when I'm actually running the campaign, I'm just out there looking for people who are running campaigns that are similar to mine. And you just create group chats in whatever social platform you're in with them and just offer to do cross promotion. It's one of the best ways to get people into your campaign. And like, we had a good cross promotion group chat going for a while. It's kind of dead now, but it really helped us for the first Vane book.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So we should like reconvene and like get, the new group chat going for the next phase of,
Yeah, definitely do that. Shout out people you like. And it's also a great way to just build faith, good faith in the community. I actually really appreciated that about Dave's approach to the campaign, because that actually like empowered me to, also be a part of that community, but also, like a lot of the people I met through Dave and the Vane are the same people that helped me with my upcoming project, Pulp Oddities, the thing that I went to launch later on after the Vane. But yeah, I got an anthology that's also going to have a Flargle Snorpledork story, which is going to explain some of Space Law, but not all of it.
Okay.
But it'll put some context in addition to the comic that will come out as an add-on to both campaigns.
That's awesome. So like, is that like when it comes to Mr. Snorpledork, like, because you came up with the ad, Dave, are you like, hey, can I just like see what you're putting out because it lives in my universe? Or are you like, go Hans, like just do your thing?
So I think honestly, I'm very, very hands off, and I just basically have like a no assholes rule. So like, as long as you know, there's not like, you know, homophobia or, you know, there's not like Nazis in it or anything like that. I'm gonna stay out of it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's basically the only rule that I have, and the only like that's the only thing I'm gonna be involved in it, generally speaking. Like other than that, like I think like internally we have like an agreement between us. I don't know if it's in writing yet. Is it in writing yet, Hans?
I'm not sure. I know that we wrote it to each other, so technically it's in writing.
But as we have learned, we need to get the contract signed early, my friend. Yeah, so we have like an agreement on like how we're going to publish the books, and you know how we're going to split profits and things like that. Not that there's any
Oh,
profits.
I thought you meant an agreement on the no asshole rule.
Oh, no, I meant for Flargle. Like,
Okay, yeah, okay.
we
Yeah, I
definitely.
was still on the no asshole rule.
I don't. It's not exactly true because both me and Hans are total assholes, but those we're the right kind of assholes.
Yeah. That's the distinction. You got to be the right
Actually, if you
kind of
watch Team
asshole.
America, you know we're both dicks. And to answer your question earlier about like, hey Dave, do you have a bunch of hidden things hidden throughout your book? The answer is dicks. Dave has hidden a bunch of dicks throughout the book. Go reread the book and look for all the dicks.
I can't wait. Secret time, this is a safe space. So I used to work at like an amusement park, and I was on the team that did all the install for when we changed things over in September and October for the haunted attractions. So we were like painting and decorating
Not
and
Scary Farm?
building scary things, and we used to hide dicks all over the place, like in the paint or like, you know, position props so that and we still have a group chat where if we see like hidden dicks in the world, we will take a picture and send it to, like, it's one of my favorite group chats that I have. And it's never like, how are you? How are the kids? How's the, you know, it's purely just pictures of dicks, like the whole chat. And it goes back like 7 years at this point, which is fantastic. So I love that you do that. And I probably shouldn't ever admit to that. My wife will kill me if I admit to that. Good thing she doesn't watch the show. So, okay. So the other, got a couple additional things. I'm officially out of notes, but I'm not done with either of you yet. So,
Okay.
two things. One, we're going to pose for a picture, and I'm going to take a screenshot, and that's going to be what I use for the YouTube thumbnail. So let me get my keyboard shortcut here. And then, ooh, super, super close up. And then I'll just get as far back as possible. All right, 3, 2, 1. Cool. The other thing, I love when creators have fun with that, by the way. Thank you for that. The other thing that I like to do.
Oh man, I've destroyed my office and making that photo possible. The sacrifice we make for our art. Okay, all right, that's cool.
The other thing that I like doing is at the end of every episode, I love talking to creatives because everybody has different experiences that led them into comics. And with that come different perspectives, different points of view, different thoughts, different feelings, different mindsets. And I love hearing those from creatives directly. So if there's anything that you want people to hear directly from you, it could be why Flargle Snorpledork is the best freaking name of all time. It could be about, like, it could be a sales pitch for the upcoming Kickstarter. Whatever the content specifically doesn't even matter. I just want you to have a chance to say whatever it is that you want people to hear from you directly. So I'll let the two of you fight to the death for who goes first.
Dave can go first. Gotta save the handsomest for last.
So I did bring a couple things for show and tell. Is that
Totally
the
good.
we're in right now? Okay.
Yeah, totally good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a couple of pinups for the book that I wanted to showcase. Did I show these last time?
I didn't see that one last time.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's rad.
Yeah, and that's by Richie Jones. He's totally cool artist. Yeah. And then this one here is by Piers. I'm going to butcher his last name. I'm going to say Hazel.
Oh, is that the guy that does all those zombie drawings? Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
he did
cool.
this for me too. I love this. This is a character in the book too. And then this guy actually sent me, and I'm going to totally forget his name, but this is the first actual fan art ever of the vein, and this guy just drew it completely unsolicited. Just went ahead and did it. I think his name is Tyler Page. Let me look it up real quick.
That is so cool. That is so fucking rad.
This guy actually went out and he released the comic. Yeah, Tyler Page. He actually released the comic. I actually have it here. Let me see if I have it. Give me 1 second.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he did this right here.
Okay.
It's backwards on my screen. Is it backward on your screen? No.
Is it Cat and Geist?
Yeah, Cat and Geist.
Okay.
And it's like an anthology. He's got pages in it. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Dude, I love anthologies. Like the exposure that you get to all sorts of different creative teams, a lot of times because you might know one creator in the anthology. Like,
yeah, Vane is in an anthology. It's a Bloody Gore Comics Anthology 3. So if you want to get some sneak peek at some pages, you go out and get that Bloody Gore Comics 3 Anthology 3.
And it's comics with an X, right? Because that's the perfect example. I backed that on BackerKit because the Vane is in it, and I was like, well, I need more body horror comics in my life. So, and then I saw the page and I was like, oh, gee, this is like all just bizarre horror. I'm here for it, and that's the perfect really example.
I love the cover. I forgot the guy that did the cover, but man, that guy did who did the cover. He did like Nightmare on Elm Street comics in the 90s. I was so excited when I saw he was on it. I'll get his name. You guys can keep going.
That's Juan Jose Rip, right?
Yeah, that's it, man. He did like I think a RoboCop comic that I really liked. He did a Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan, so I was so pumped when I was like, and when that guy reached out to me, God, I'm so bad at names. The guy who does Bloody Gore comics, he reached out to me, and like he showed me the cover. I was like, I did whatever it took to get my pages into the book.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Like so my introduction to him, to Juan was he did the artwork for a Wolverine title. And I was like, God, the way he does Wolverine just clawing somebody was so brutal. And I was like, I now have you on my list of like names of creators to look out for. And then I picked up, I think it's called Black Summer. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is
Jose
that the top
Rip and Warren Ellis?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That book was dope too. And I was just like, all right, yeah, fine. Whatever he puts out, I'm going to get. And I initially backed the digital because I got to scale back. I can't just keep pouring money. But then I kept looking at that cover and I was like, damn it, I need to have that cover in my hands. And so I bumped it up to the physical and I was like, all right, whatever. It's whatever. So that's, I'm big fan of his. Perfect. Sorry, I don't mean to totally derail everything that you were saying. Please continue show and tell. Badass.
I don't want to suck up any more air, so I think we should allow Hans a little bit of time. He's got some
I guess
words.
So, sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely have all this air to stock up. Hold on. I'm just kidding, guys. No, I appreciate you having us on. It's been a lot of fun, and obviously, I want you guys to all check out the Vane campaign and Flargle Snorpledork Space Attorney. I'm gonna show off the cover real quick. I don't know if you guys can see it.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. He's got 2 stories that's gonna come out, and then Dave and I are both making anthologies. Dave's got an anthology coming out like way after the Vane. That's very horror themed. It's gonna be awesome. My buddy Austin Ackert and I have the story in it. Austin also drew. I have a lot of great artists that contributed to Pulp Oddities. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to shout everyone out, but Austin Ackert, obviously R.L. Black drew a fucking gorgeous cover for it, and also did one of the interior stories. But R.L. Black's a pretty great guy. He did one of the best-selling alternate covers for the Vein, and so I'm kind of lucky that R.L. also did this badass cover for Pulp Oddities. I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of R.L. Black, he's actually got, so there's actually more than one mini that's going to be sold with the Vein issue.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. R.L. Black. Yeah, R.L. Black is going to have a mini too, and he actually just delivered the cover for it.
That's dope.
Yeah, he's going to have a 10-page mini of this group that's called the Deformity in it. That's in the Vein, and so he's written the script. I think he's gotten a lot of the artwork done, and he just delivered the cover. So he's going to have a mini. We're going to have the Flargle Snorpledork mini, and then we have the Veins Day mini, which is going to be basically like 24 pages of in-between story. If you like the Vein, you can get some extra Vein.
It has art by Louis Santamarina. Great dude.
Yeah,
he's also in my Pulp Oddities anthology. We swap artists around like I don't know, like hoes, I guess.
I mean, that's kind of what I've gathered from a lot of talking to indie creatives is like everybody at some point works with somebody and then they make an introduction and then they work together and then there's another introduction. And like, I think that's like the point of having an indie comics community is like, you just get to meet rad people.
It's been awesome, man. Like ever since coloring that first Vein page and then snowballing into like I'm now the colorist and parody ad designer for the Vein. It's snowballed into me meeting all these other people also in the comics world. And it's been really cool just meeting all these cool, creative, talented people, getting inspired by their work, inspired to put my own stuff out there. There's actually a podcast. Is it a podcast? Are they technically a podcast, David? That the one we went on last time, the How We Got Here show. They're the ones that inspired me to do the anthology because I was saying like, oh yeah, man, I always wanted to do anthology, but I don't think anyone likes them. And they're like, oh, are you kidding me? We think anthologies are the coolest. You should do it. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I will. That's how impressionable I am.
Yeah, you and I actually have to talk after this. We have to choose the dates for when we're going to go on their show next. So they gave us. Yeah. So you and I should probably.
I like those guys.
Yeah, since we're
I
both.
like you too. Don't worry, punk.
I'm not worried about it. Listen. The better that comics podcasts in general do, I'm only going to benefit from that. So like,
absolutely. A rising tide rises all ships.
That dude, have you been watching my show? I talk about that all the freaking time. Yeah, and I haven't been talking enough about Flargle Snorpledork, so I just need to get it to a nice number here. That's all.
Oh, hey, if you want to get some Flargle Snorpledork stickers, I'm selling these on my website now. Just go to thinkinkinc.com and you can buy these Flargle Snorpledork die-cut stickers. I have 6 stickers. One of Flargle, his buddy Noreen, his office manager Plura, of course Mike, and the band, the Scorched Flizzle, and also the title card. So yeah, you can totally buy these from me and Dave. Dave has a couple for sale, I think, too. But you have to find David in person. He's like a Pokemon. He's a rare Pokemon. So if you find him, you can get a sticker and a coin, maybe.
I sold out of mine, man.
Oh, you can't. Sorry, stop hunting Dave for stickers, bro. Stop it.
Yeah, don't get out of your car, turn it around. You can't go.
You gotta hunt me now. Hunt me, motherfuckers, on the deadliest game of all. But yeah. Come, go to my website and get Flargle Snorpledork stickers.
Right,
in the meantime.
All the best for Flargle. I have OCD. And I was like, I can't end it at that number, but I feel good about this one. That's a good realistic number. I was going to put in some gigantic, ridiculous over the top one. And then I thought, I don't want to lie to people. I want to be authentic. So we hit 40 on the name of the alien.
Space Attorney.
The Space Attorney. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I was like, what else can I call him? But dude, thanks so much. Like, this was a ton of fun. Also, my collaborator, Chris, tuned in with the correction because he knows all of this shit. Dirth was on the Corn record, Follow the Leader. So now I got to go dig out my giant CD book.
Okay, what is a Corn record?
Pull out Follow the Leader so that I can listen to it because I I'm sure I know it. That's the thing that I miss about music is like
The hidden tracks.
the
on
hidden
CD.
tracks, man.
Oh,
And like, so I bought, this is a completely tangent that I didn't expect to go on, but I'm in the Midwest. I don't know how to say goodbye to people. So Blink-182 did a live album, the Tom Travis and Mark show. And instead of just having like straight tracks, they cut some of the jokes that they told and put them all like back to back to back to back to back. So when I loaded it back in the day into the CD-ROM disc tray, and then like it opened Windows Media Player, it was like, there are 77 tracks. Would you like to import them to your library? And I was like, I'm about to get 77 Blink-182 songs. And then like 60 of them are just one-liner jokes. And it like 6 seconds long. And I'm like, you sons of bitches. But anyway, that has nothing to do with anything. I appreciate both of you guys for hanging out, talking comics. Hang tight after this. I got some logistics for you. But for everybody else, this was great. Thanks for sounding off in the chat and encouraging us about our thumbnail picture. I love having fun with those. It's turned into its whole thing at this point, I think. Much like, I'm not going to update the counter anymore, much like Flargle Snorpledork became
Flargle Snorpledork.
much bigger than he ever was intended to begin with. Oh, shit. That was the song. If Flargle had a commercial, what would his jingle be?
He would write his own because he was in a band.
Yeah.
So would it be like an upbeat, like
No,
rock?
it'd be a rock and roll song. It'd be like very like very straight ahead, like picture "Go with the Flow" from Queens of the Stone Age.
Okay.
Like that kind of groove, like just like straight ahead rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's how the Scorched Flizzle sounds, man. They're heavy, they're groovy. Their bass player, Dr. Chef, he's both a doctor and a chef, and he's good at playing bass.
Perfect. I love how that just falls out of your brain. Seriously, I had a blast talking to the two of you. I have to go figure out how to make food for myself because my wife is out of town. But for everybody else that is watching this, thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked it, share it with the horror fan that is in your life, because I know there's one. And for everybody else, just thanks. Just thanks. This community is awesome, and it's because of you contributing and being a part of it. And what's a good podcast without a good tagline? This one's mine. Go do what's good for you, punks, and read some indie comics, because we are out of here.